guys, what's up? Welcome back to this little Evolved Skateboard follow-up video. Actually, I'm gonna have a lot more videos with some cool dirt rides and max speed and max range tests. I've been logging these kind of things for more than 150 miles or 250 kilometers now, and I got a lot to say about this. Overall, I'm really happy with my board. What I learned in the comments of the last video was that you also wanted to have a video on the basics of the board, like how does it accelerate, how does it brake, can you go downhill, stuff like this. And we're gonna have a look at this right now. One thing I really appreciated was that so many of you left your personal opinion and shared your experience with the board. Please continue with that. Leave me a comment on this video. Tell me what you think, what are your experiences. I think this makes a great community. And when you do so, please make sure that you actually also share complete data sets like what's your weight, what's your average riding speed, what's your terrain like, and very important, what was the temperature you rode in, because these factors all very much affect the range and stuff like that and the max speed. And when we're not talking about this, then we're not comparing full data sets, and you cannot really compare things. It's like apple and oranges. Okay, enough said, let's have a look at the board right now. First, let's turn on the board. It's just a quick push of a button down here and another quick button push on the remote. And the remote binds to the board conveniently fast, so basically already now you're good to go, and that's very convenient. On a fully charged battery you will get a ride time of 1 to 2 hours. The board will then typically recharge in 2 to 4 hours with a 4 amps fast charger. How often do you have to recharge the remote? I found that you can go easily 100 kilometers on one charge, so this remote lasts like forever. Here again about the remote real quick. If you press the on-off button once, you change to fast mode with a max speed of 35 kilometers per hour. Press it once again and you're back in slow mode with a max speed of 16 kilometers per hour. The second button over here is the reverse button. Press it and the board will go in reverse. Press it once more and the board goes forward again. About the red light. In theory, the red light should come on when there is about a third of battery charge left. I found that in reality this feature does not work reliably, especially in cold climate. Chances are the low voltage cutoff has already set in and you've never seen a trace of the red light. At higher temperature it starts to work as intended. However, you have to know that the red light will never come on constantly. This is what confused me quite a lot initially. Only when you're low on charge and keep the trigger pressed, that is while riding, will that red LED indicate you're running out of juice. What's the maximum range of the remote? Simple test here. After about 5 meters, the connection is lost. This should give you some safety margin so you don't experience any unwanted cutouts while riding. The next question was, how about the acceleration and brake behavior both in slow and fast mode? So I'm just gonna hop onto the board right now. And I'm slightly pulling the trigger, and as you can see, it's a very good feel, a good response. I'm braking now, so can it go in reverse? And yes, it can. Okay, so I'm changing once again. Maximum acceleration in the slow mode. I'm pulling full trigger right now. Maximum brake. As you can see, it does not come to a full stop. It brakes quite hard when going fast, but the slower you get, the weaker the brake action. Here is the same thing again, only from another perspective. This is maximum acceleration in slow mode. At higher speeds, you should apply brake with caution. As you can see, the wheel blocks at first, reducing speed pretty fast. But the slower the board, the lower the brake action. Yellow LED light is flashing fast, and this means that the remote is on fast mode now. Because there is loose gravel here, the acceleration is of course limited because the wheel will slip, but you will at least get a glimpse of what acceleration is like. Full throttle and max brake and maximum brake. So when you go down a slope, actually, this means that you won't come to full stop. So going backwards In fast mode, obviously is faster as well. That was even pretty fast right now. This is max acceleration in fast mode. Now, don't hit that brake too hard because the drive wheel may block. Here in the video, the belt jumps over, maybe you can hear some brake rattle. But if it doesn't and the wheel blocks, you may easily get thrown off the board. Talking about speed, this is as fast as it gets in slow mode. Something like 16 kilometers per hour. And this is max speed in fast mode. Depending on temperature and a few more factors, up to 35 kilometers per hour. Okay, here we go down a slope. It's around 10 degrees or 18%. I'd say that's pretty steep. And as you can see, although I'm applying full brake, the board doesn't even come close to a stop. However, it does keep the speed at a manageable level, so you still feel comfortable. Overall, I'd say going downhill on this board is very convenient. We'll have a closer look at the Evolve's uphill capabilities in a later slope test video, by the way. Another thing I really like about this board is that it is quite silent. And one of the reasons for this is the belt drive. And the tip I have for you is to run it a bit on the loose side. The advantage of this is not just that it is more silent, but also that the resistance is a bit less and you can potentially go further, meaning your range gets better. And the third thing is that if you drive on loose terrain like a bit gravel with small stones, and they sometimes get kicked up, then they may get caught in the drive wheel. And if the belt is very tight, then you may damage the belt if a stone gets caught in the drive wheel. You can see it in this picture here. And this will eventually damage the belt. When the belt is on the loose side, it will just go over it without any damage, or hopefully any damage. The only slight disadvantage is when you run the belt on the loose side is that when braking harder, the belt tends to rattle over the drive wheel, so you get a brake rattle, but that's not really a problem unless it is too much, of course, and the board doesn't brake anymore. And the second thing is that the belt may have a tendency to flutter a bit, so this sounds like somebody's ringing a bell at the end of the board. Unless this is too much or too loud, this is not a problem. Here you see the steering. The response is actually very direct, but not intimidating in any kind of way. It also feels entirely comfortable also when riding at a faster speed. And of course you can customize this behavior. The longer you ride it, the softer the steering gets, but this somehow corresponds with your progress on the board. So that's pretty nice as it is. Because the resistance of the electric drive is quite low, you can actually use this board as a pushboard. It really works nicely, and of course it's not the same as if there was no electric drive at all. But as you can see, if something were to happen to the drive, or you completely ran out of battery for whatever reason, there is still a way to get home, even if it takes you a little bit longer. Another thing that might be confusing, or a question, is the board is called an all-terrain board. And what does this mean anyway? Basically it means that you can ride on asphalt, of course, but also on rougher surfaces. And you can't do this with normal skate wheels. It will get eternally bumpy and it's just not fun to do this. With the all-terrain board, this is absolutely no problem. It also works if you have like field paths or forest paths. I would call this a trekking terrain. The one thing you can't do on this board is off-road terrain. For this you would really need a mountain board, because as you can see here, there is not enough traction. Also, you may get stuck on looser ground, and this causes you to fall off the board. You really have to jump off the board. And finally, when you ride on too loose surfaces, then little stones may get kicked up, the same as with grass. If you go through meadows or whatever, then this will get caught in the drive wheel and actually may block the belt. As we discussed before, it's good if you have the belt on the looser side, because this avoids damage, but otherwise you should avoid these kind of surfaces, because it's really not fun to ride there, and all the other stuff is much more fun anyway and not a problem. Another question following the unboxing video was whether or not there is a cell balancer inside the charger. And the obvious answer is no, because this will require that you can access the voltage of every individual cells. And this means that you would need 11 connections to the battery and not just 2 wires, as it is currently the case from the charger to the board. Anyway, when opening the underside of the board, you will find a small circuit board which has got exactly 11 connections to the individual LiPo cells of the battery. Also, it's got a connection to the charging port. And what's more, when checking all the individual voltages of the 10 different LiPo cells, they match up pretty nicely. So in fact, this is a balancing system, and we can finally answer this question positively. Anyway, that was it for today. See you in the next videos. If you got any questions or anything to share, I'd be happy about comments and a thumbs up, of course, and see you next time, guys. Bye bye.